It's just Mark and Daniel on today, and we have gotten Daniel into the tool. He's an administrator of the student services application, which he can get to inside TeamDynamix. So let's show you how Daniel got there, because some of these other folks might be what we call an application administrator as opposed to a global administrator. So let's go back to TeamDynamix, which is in above your URL line. The second to last window up there is TeamDynamix. Yep, 11.2. So this is TeamDynamix. We're in the student services ticketing application, which Daniel got to by going to the blue application menu, which is underneath the word Imperial in the upper left. And he essentially clicked on the student services tile, which opened up the student services application. And this is where all the student services area is, where all of the, we didn't go back, go back to TeamDynamix again.
Okay, sorry about that.
Hang out here, no problem. So in here, eventually, when we activate those 5 services that we're working on, they will show up here in the left navigation. It says desktop groups tickets. In the tickets, these will start to populate here. And if you click on tickets now, you should see a couple that I've been playing with. Click on the blue word tickets.
All right.
So these are the ones that we've been testing throughout, and we'll continue to monkey with them here. But as I mentioned, we made Daniel an administrator of the student services application, so he can come in and edit these forms and the workflows. And the way that he gets to it is he's not a global administrator, which means he doesn't have administrator rights to the entire tool. He is a specific admin for the student services application, and that capability is right here in the blue settings gear in the upper right. So from here, he clicks on admin, and from here, it'll open up another window for him. Go ahead and click on the admin button there.
All right.
And this will open up the left administrative panel, where a lot of the things are configured. Let's talk about the first one, attributes, right below archive tickets. Attributes are custom fields that you need to design to create all of these forms that we're working on. So you can do that in 2 places. You can do it right here. So go ahead and click on attributes.
All right.
And when you need new fields, you can do it here, or you can do it on the form in 2 places. Okay. So for example, when we need like the birth date or the campus ID number or whatever we might need, we can come right here and create it with the green plus new button. So this is one way to create, and this is, think of an attribute as a custom field, right?
Yeah.
So let's just go to the green plus new button.
All right.
And and then let's name it what we want to name it. And then you might have to share your screen, because probably a small window popped up and I don't see it.
Oh, okay. New ticket attribute. Do you see that?
There it is. Yep. So just name this one Daniel's attribute. And we'll eventually delete this one out, or I'll delete it out for you.
All right.
The header text is just, sometimes the attribute name is really long. The header text is really just a shortened version. So this would be the header of a column. So you can just put in Daniel's attribute again here. And then below that is the attribute type, which is a drop down. And this is where I get some of the checkbox list, drop down, multi-select, person. So for this one, let's just grab a text area.
Area.
Yep. So this one would be a text area. And then below that would be options: updatable, active, client, visible. Most of the time you want all 3 of those check boxes selected. So let's just check the other 2.
Perfect.
Let's actually go back to the attribute type, and instead of text area, let's select a different one. So let's select the checkbox list, the very first one.
Oh, there you are.
Yep.
All right.
And then now when you save it, because there's more to it. The text box area just is opening up like a box that you can type in free text, but the checkbox list gives you more things to do. So let's hit the green save button.
All right, perfect.
And now if you scroll back down in here, you can see a couple of things. You can create your choices for your drop down. So in the add choice box, put in choice A, and then hit enter or add.
Choice add?
No, there's an add button to the far right of that field.
Oh, okay,
you can
okay.
hit that add. So you can hit add, yep, and then put in choice B, and now we'll start seeing our choices pile up.
Oh, I see that. I see that.
So most of those type fields, like the choice, the picker, the horizontal, radial buttons, they'll all allow you after you save it to create choices, right?
Yeah.
So now let's make sure we hit the green save button, and this will save this attribute for us. And again, think of this just as a custom field that you need on a form for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and X out of this screen here. And then let's take a look. Can't see your TD next here.
Here you are. I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to unshare and share it every time.
So let's see where that attribute lies now. We know it's in this column. So if you scroll down in here, we'll see, you might have to refresh. Or there it is. Yeah, you have to hit the blue refresh button.
Right here.
Yep. And now it'll show up as Daniel's.
Ah, there it is.
Daniel's. There it is. So now it means it is available to be pulled into any form you create or that you want to edit. So go to in the left navigation, let's go to forms.
All right.
And let's go to that AB 540 form. So just click on AB 540.
Do you see that screen?
And now we're in our designer. And if you, in the right panel now, if you scroll down all the way over to the right, to the very far right. Nope, the other scroll bar.
Oh, the right.
There you go. Now, yep. Scroll down. There's Daniel's attribute, right? So that's that custom field. So hit the plus button, the blue plus button. Anytime you do that, it adds it to the designer at the very last one. And there's Daniel's attribute. There's choice A and choice B. Let's go ahead and hit the green save button just to show you that this will stick here. Now I'll clean this up so you don't have to worry about it. Right. And then from here, hit the preview tab.
All right.
And then if you scroll down in here, the last thing we should see is Daniel's attribute.
Ah, yeah.
Keep on scrolling. Right. And so then from here, so that's how you add a new field to a form. So FYI, not rocket science, just knowing where to press the buttons, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's pretty simple to understand. You know, I think there's just a lot of things you can click on that look a little more confusing, but I mean, once you kind of get it all down, it's pretty easy.
So click back on the designer tab. Now, you could have mentioned you created that custom attribute over there. You could also, where it says in the right, add new field.
All right.
Right below custom. If you hit the blue plus button, this would do the same thing. This is the identical thing as creating an attribute, right? But you're doing it right here on the form. So you could name it something again. Here's the field types are all here.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing that you just did, right? But this is creating it right at your fingertips.
Yeah.
In the form that you're working on. So it's identical to what we just did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nice. That's great.
Okay.
Need to know.
The other thing I wanted to show you is so this, what you'd be doing on this form here is, tweaking any fields that you need. right? I know Melody was working on embedding that signature widget and looked like she was working on it a little bit before. If you scroll down, I think she tried to embed that link on there.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that's reacting when we run a test on this. The other thing I wanted to see, Daniel, do you work in admissions and records, or what is your typical role?
Yeah, so I do work for admissions and records. I am a staff support technician. So basically, what I do is I'm kind of like the front line person. I get all the calls and I make all the forms. So, for example, we have a mock form creator that we do to make forms like online forms. So I've been working a lot with mock form to see how that's been working. And yeah, I've been setting up all the fields for how the form's going to work and everything. So this is pretty familiar to me.
Good. Yeah. What sort of, do you work with HTML much at all? Just a general question.
There's no I have not.
Right or wrong answer. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason that I ask is the other area that I wanted a second set of eyes from your guys' perspective is the notifications that go out to students when things get approved or rejected.
Yes.
Can contain a lot of words in there that you guys need from an appropriate response. And I don't know exactly what those words might be. I can take a shot at it, and I have a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to show you how you can edit that and include the correct wording for those notifications.
Yeah,
those are on the workflows. So if you don't mind, let's go ahead, before you X out of here, scroll back. Sure. In the designer portion of it, so in the grayer areas, use that smaller scroll down. Scroll all the way back down to your Daniel's attribute, hit the remove button next to it, and all the remove button will do is pull it off of this form and put it back into the right panel. So it'll still be over there, it's just not on the form right now.
Yeah.
Then let's hit the green save button. So we haven't really done anything to this form yet. And then let's X out of this overall, yep, perfect. And let's go back to the, to the admin portion of the student services. And in the left navigation, scroll all the way down.
All right.
To workflows and click on workflows. So in here, let's click on the AB 540 request workflow. And let's go ahead and open it up. And then click on the green view builder. So this is how I started to design this particular workflow, which looks pretty similar to the other ones, right? And once we get these down, they're going to work really well for us, but they all take a little bit of polishing from a wording perspective. So this is checked out to me. Let me check it back in. Refresh again here. Hit the refresh at the browser level, and should be checked in now.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right. Go to the two steps that send a notification out is the ones that say student notification of approval and the student notification of rejection. And all of your workflows are going to have this, and we're going to want to edit the HTML for the messaging that goes out to the student here. Okay. So back up to the top line, the file drop-down button.
All right, right here.
Check out. That's going to allow you to edit this workflow. Next on is going to give you the settings gear on the little task. Yep, click on that. All right. And then hit the edit button. So the notification template below, if you scroll down.
Oh, I see here. Yes.
Here's the HTML, right? And so this is, I just kind of put in some words in here. But all 5 of these workflows, once we kind of get things going, we're going to want to make sure the subject is titled the way that's going to make sense for you guys. You can type in a lot of the words in here, but you can pull in the insert template tag allows you to go ahead up to that field where it says insert template tag.
All right.
Wherever your cursor is, it'll allow you to pull in the data from the field that it's asking for. Most of the time, it's going to be the requester's first name, and it is going to be maybe the responsible group or the responsible department or something along that line. So
Yeah, I see that.
There's really nothing too whiz bang in here other than here is the requester's name for the body, and before that you could type in the word like dear and then requester first name.
Yeah.
And then like I have in here, congratulations, your request has been approved. Next steps include, and if you have questions, contact. And that's where these words here are what I could use help with on your guys' end on what should be said here.
Okay. I see. I see.
And then if and when, and you can save things and come back and edit this at any time, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So each of these workflows has an approve step, which is good, right? A notification and a reject. And the reject one is where you might want some soft language, like, unfortunately, and you guys probably have some documents that you use for the rejection notifications.
Yeah.
And you might want to just use some of that wording to help soften the blow to them, or they're going to want to know what next steps are, or that sort of thing. And then you can always embed, like in this, because this is HTML, you can put contact informations in here. I think you can include links. I'd have to double check, but you can include the A&R overall email address and web address and that sort of thing in the body here. I just don't know what all that information is. And once you kind of get one of these for the accept and one of them for the reject, then it's pretty much going to be pretty similar, other than you might want to change the words to your residency questionnaire has been approved versus your exemption has been approved. That's all you'll have to really tweak out of there if you get the body of it done for all of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it'd be kind of like a copy and paste, except changing which titles of the forms that we're using to send out those approvals.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. So I don't know if that's all going to fall on you, but at least if somebody in your department knows how to do this and you can talk with some others and get some feedback, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely.
So let's go ahead and hit the green save button here. You can also hit the blue notification help. Go ahead and hit that. I want to make sure that opens up the help text for you. Did that open up a separate window?
Yeah, let me go ahead and share it just so you can see this.
Yep. So this will walk you through who can be recipients. Doesn't go into a deep dive on the HTML from a template perspective. It just tells you, what you can do at a high level. There is a little bit of detail though. See, you can kind of see the notification template usage and configuration.
Yeah.
That's a good little article there that will give you some ideas, and then it'll talk about using the tags, and then how it leverages it where you place your cursor, and just some general how-tos on here.
All right.
So we'll want to do that on each of the workflows for the acceptance notification to the student and the rejection notification for the student.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to show today, and we'll probably end a little bit early, but I'm going to steal the presentership back if that's okay. If you don't mind, go back into the view builder of this workflow here, the green blue view builder button.
Oh, right here.
I'm not seeing. Let me see. Yeah, the green view builder button, go back into that.
All right.
To pull your workflow back up. So I want to check it back in.
Oh, I think it's right here, actually.
So go back up to the file.
Okay.
And then go to save and check in. All right, now you can X out of this window, and I'm going to steal the presentership back from you if you don't mind. So we're going to certainly need to get other folks' input on what I'm thinking of doing. But if you remember, on the AB 540 form, one of the things we were brainstorming with the other day was this box here, right? And how do we best get this in? Because we don't have a text box like this that we can freeform each of these cells to fill out, right? So it's going to be, so I'm going to show you my idea and give me your honest feedback if you think this will meet your guys' needs. So that's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to open up my request form here. I'm going to grab it here. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. This is where I added it. So I would be asking them, and I'll word this better, but I'm going to ask them, how many schools have you previously attended? And then I'll put some help notification in there, right?
Okay.
And their options are, and currently I have, they can 1 school, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I didn't think I needed more than 5, but let's just say they select, I went to 3 different schools. When they select 3, now it cascades 3 different boxes for schools. So how many schools? 3. Here's school info for number 1, and they would fill that out in this box. Here's school info number 2, and they would fill that out in this box here. Here's school info number 3. So it would cascade anytime to the appropriate numbers. So if I change this to just 1, then there'd only be 1 box for them to fill out.
Oh, that's great.
With the name. And if they happen to go to 5, anything more than 5, I'd have to make more, and I could easily make more.
Yeah.
But there's probably 5 might be about. So they do 5 now. School 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they'd still be essentially having to put everything in one text area here, but at least we'd have, and this is inside of this is help text. So they would type in, school. As they start typing, this help text goes away. So I'd want to keep this above so they know, okay, I'm going to put the name of the school here, Johnson High. Hopefully then they would see above type of school is, high school. And it was in, I actually was born in Santa Rosa, California. And then I went there from, 2017 to, 2020. And I have a high school diploma or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think it's a lot better than having the idea of having to separate each, like if you put you went to 3 schools and it's there's different form fields that are like name of school and type of school. It's better just to have it in one box like you do right now, because it's just so much easier to read.
So do you think 5 is enough? 5 options is enough? Should I make it 6 or 7, or do you think 5 is?
I think 5 is great. I think 5 is a good amount. If for any reason that there should be more, I mean, definitely we can go back and get.
Because the reason I went with 5 is I thought if this is, somebody could go to 3 or 4 high schools and 1 or 2 community colleges, but chances of them going to more than that. And if we need to make it 6 or 7, we certainly can. I think 5 is a good number to start out at.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything more than that, their transcripts would probably be kind of crazy.
Yeah, and is there a way to add like in that little drop down box of how many schools? Is there a way to add like none, just like in case? I mean, I don't know if that would need to be there, but in case that maybe they never attended a school, I don't know if that makes sense. I would assume that they would need to.
Yeah, I could put a 0 in there, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then maybe and you might even want like if 0 is selected, then above the school number 1 would be maybe a text area that says additional information here, and they could type in something like I didn't have a transcript or whatever,
Yeah.
just a free form field. So that's something to think through. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. But other than that,
okay, thanks for that thanks for that feedback. And I did this I haven't done this on your guys' form yet because I didn't know if it was going to meet your needs. So now that it is, I'll edit it over there. Then the last little bit of feedback I want before I let you go today is on the next form that I'm going to be working on, which is the residency questionnaire. This is our last one that we're going to be working on.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this should really be no problem. What I wanted feedback from you guys today on was this residency document here. This bad boy is like, it seems like, and again, another form where you're supposed to do this in person. And I'm like, well, how do you do it in person when you're doing it online? Right?
Definitely.
Unless you're FaceTiming with something.
Yeah.
Right. So this might be something, and you might not have an answer for me today, Daniel, and that's fine. But if you can kind of like brainstorm this with your folks, is how do we best get this as part of, I think that the declaration down here and the signatures and all that, we're working with Melody on the potentially the links and so on and so forth. But what can we do with something like this? Physical presence.
So, of course, this was at the time that we did have students coming in. And that's why it says bring documents as stated from each section 1, 2, or 3. That's a little tough. When I had come into IBC, because I've only been here for about almost a year, this form was kind of done. I really don't have an answer, unfortunately. But that's
okay. And I wasn't expecting it today. I just wanted to throw it out there so we can start thinking about it. But can you take this to Vicky and your team and talk through it and get some ideas on if this needs to be part of an online thing, or if it just need to brainstorm on how we expose this information, instructions, and what's the best way to do it. So
I think that the best way to do this, to be honest, is that it seems like these are just documents that they need prior to, of course, submitting, right? So I think that this page could be just like an attachment field, maybe describing. I just wouldn't know what to rename, like physical presence. But for military personnel only, they can click that, and then it'll say, okay, either need to attach an active or discharge. I don't know, like a military ID card, and attach a copy of the military orders. Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk to the staff and see what they say.
Yep. Well, thanks for jumping on today. Glad we got some one-on-one. I think you got a pretty good idea how to add a custom field or an attribute to a form, how to get into administrative interface for your student services area that you are a part of.
Yeah.
And then if you can look at editing that form.
All right.
And then if you can look at the wording for your acceptance and rejection notifications to your students, that would be great.
All right. Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable, feel free to go into the workflow and edit that HTML if you want. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, if you get the wording down and you want to send the wording to me, I can cut and paste and put it into the workflows too. I can do that. Then third, if you can just kind of workshop this residency 1, 2, 3 form with your team, and we can brainstorm about it on Wednesday.